Welcome into the Toyota Lounge, powered by your Front Range Toyota dealerships. This is the DNVR Avalanche podcast on an off day for the Colorado Avalanche. Their second off day. They got the extra travel day. I want to just jump right in, boys. The Avs win game 2. You get 2 days off. Is the extra day of rest a good thing, or is the extra day of rest just feeling like the momentum's burning off a little bit for Colorado?
I'll jump in first. I'll say it's good. I'll say it's a good thing because you get so amped up with playoffs, and you can see it every night, right? Every game, everybody's like, puck drop is like a lot of hits, and they say that Toronto and Boston, but even Avs and Winnipeg, I think, was it the first game? It was a boatload of hits combined, right? Everybody's so, like I said, amped up and excited, and late night that night, right? It was a late start. I'm glad, again, smart organization. They decided to sleep overnight there and not get home at 3, 4, 5 in the morning, So sleep there. They came home yesterday. Get the rest of the day to, whatever. Be with the family, the kids, the wife, whatever it is. If you're single, just go out to eat, whatever. And then today you get to, get to the work, put the working boots on a little bit, get on the ice, skate. They didn't skate for too long. But still, I'm sure they had a meeting, go over some stuff, and then get back up for a normal game day tomorrow. Even though it is an 8 o'clock start, it's still a little late, but it's not like 9 o'clock in Winnipeg 2 days ago. So, yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think for the Avs, it is a good thing in the sense that Sam Girard or guys like that gives them an extra day, to cross your fingers, hope that he's in.
Exactly. Our Toyota chat talking about that exactly, right? If they played today and Sammy wasn't in, maybe that extra day means a lot if Sammy does play tomorrow.
And it does mean a lot for the Avs decor when Sammy's there. No, again, you're not bagging on Jones or, whatever it is, but Sammy is 20 minutes you feel comfortable and you like when he's out there. So maybe it was a nice little break, 2-day break there for the Avs.
For me, it's not even so much about Jones as it is Sean Walker, because
had to get spotted and everything.
Well, I mean, game 1 he plays next to Cale Makar. Game 2,
just a little lost in the lineup.
It's like he's a little bit with some Makar, some Taves, some Manson, kind of just moving around. It just doesn't seem like Jared Bednar's really found a comfort level with Sean Walker in the lineup without Sam Girard in it. With him in there, I think it's really straightforward because you've got the left rights.
Yep.
It's very easy to just be like, okay, these guys will go together.
Yep.
And if a guy's not playing well, then you just shuffle them up and down, and they're still with guys who have played on their in those positions all year, even if it's not with a natural, like a partner that they've had a lot. But when Sean Walker's playing on the left side next to Cale Makar, that's the moon to him. It
feels like they're a little bit stuck without Girard too, right? Because Caleb Jones and Jack Johnson as individual defensemen are passable.
They're bottom pairing guys. They're rotational guys for sure.
Right. They're rotational guys, I think is the correct answer. And when you put 2 rotational guys on the same pairing, you're just hoping to survive every time they get out there.
Yeah, please don't let this go too poorly.
Yeah.
And at times it has.
Right. And getting a Girard back into the lineup allows you to have a Jack Johnson and X, whoever you want to put on his other side. I don't care. You can play them a little bit more consistently. You can find a little bit more stability so you don't have a Sean Walker on every pair of your lineup.
You're just drifting through your lineup, yeah. That said, I think the idea would be to put Walker next to Johnson.
Probably, yeah.
And you look at, that's the pairing that gave up the second Winnipeg goal the other day in transition.
It is.
I had a lot bigger problem with Walker on a live viewing, and then when I went back and rewatched through it.
Yeah. I really think he does an okay job.
It looks more like his communication is really bad because he's in the middle of the ice.
And cuts over late.
And there's no jet in the middle of the ice.
Yeah.
And it was like, he was in such bad position there. But like Jack Johnson's defense there remains like that's
his guy the whole way. That's his guy.
This is the number one thing that you look at on that play and go, what in the world is this? So, it's not like that pairing has obviously found some magic formula, but I think a comfort level for Sean Walker will be great. And I think it trickled down effect. It might help. It might help Cale Makar a little bit too, who analytically is getting crushed in the series so far,
but mechanically is carrying the Avs.
But we're watching it, and he's doing a great job offensively, and that's where you're like, okay,
yep.
That's his like number one attribute.
Yep.
We want that to be going at its highest level. We'll work on the rest. Putting him back with Taves in game 2, I think, helped quite a bit. And you get Girard back into that lineup. You get that comfort level, but also you get, like, Caleb Jones comes out and Sam Girard comes in.
Yep.
You get a much better player in Sam Girard.
Just de facto. And the Avs' next 2 games are on home ice. So a pairing of Walker-Johnson, probably not going to see a whole lot of Mark Scheifele when you're deciding what the lineup matchups are.
You're reading my keys for tomorrow. Tiff can...
He's got them in days
Tiff
early.
can say I'm not right. I'm not lying, right? So, preview of tomorrow. But also what AJ's talking about right now, if I can add to it, is remember when Lecky came back a few weeks back? Remember, like, slots everybody in the right way. For me, Sammy coming back is the equivalent on D of a Lecky up front. You know what I mean? Like, you feel comfortable. You know what you're getting.
Totally different mechanically, but I understand what
but
you're
you
saying.
see what I'm talking about.
Ties
The
the group
importance.
together.
I'm talking about the importance of the player in the lineup.
Yeah.
Not a primary player, a secondary, but a good one. You know what I mean? Like Lecky is, right?
Yep.
I'm watching him this morning at practice, and it's like, freaking, I don't know who I was saying that to, and I was like, every playoff, freaking wherever he's gone, he's awesome. He reminds me of, like, I was comparing him to Claude Lemieux again. Not the style of player. I'm saying the way you elevate your game in playoffs, and you're like, who you picking, who you got, and it's like, the obvious choice in overtime. Oh, McKinnon, or but it's like, maybe it is Lemieux or Lehkonen, right? You know what I mean? Because those guys come through.
Historically, there's been a lot of success for Lecky.
That's my point. So that's what I was trying to say about Sammy. It's like the importance of what he is to the decor. It's kind of like what Lecky is to the forward group, and then it slots everybody, like you've been talking about, the correct way. And it makes a difference in the lineup, especially at home, like we were just saying.
No, I think the home ice thing will be really interesting tomorrow, because just going through this over the last couple of days, it's kind of shocking to me that the Jets won so many games at home, because when Rick Bowness has been in charge of matchups, his team has done worse.
Yeah.
Just statistically speaking, they've done worse. And so that, to me, I think is a fascinating wrinkle of, like, if you're Jared Bednar, knowing that you had no problems with the matchups in Winnipeg,
Why change?
do you just come back to Denver and you're like, sure, we'll just keep going? Like, Ross Colton can keep going up against Mark Scheifele.
Let's see
This
if
is fine.
Adam Lowry can stop Nathan McKinnon on home ice.
like
I'd like to see it.
Nathan McKinnon has 3 points in 2 games. Like,
Didn't stop him all that well in Winnipeg.
right? Like, is this what we're calling stopping him? It's more like lessening the blow.
Yeah,
But like, it's something I'm curious to see how that chess match between the two teams goes, because Colorado just can't be that upset about how their lines actually matched coming into this game 3. And if that is Rick Bowness's biggest weakness in the series, is he makes bad matchup decisions, why get him out of his own way?
Yeah, fair enough. Was this all the big bait for the Avs to not have home ice so Rick Bowness can play himself?
That would be like 7D chess.
Galaxy brain level stuff.
Yeah.
For sure.
Jared Bednar sitting in his office like,
Everything's going to plan.
yeah, exactly. I'm super curious to see how the next 2 games in Denver play out because of that. Adam Lowry has done fine.
Yep.
I think he's done his job. Obviously, 2 goals in game 1. That's way more than they're asking for they probably would have been happy with 2 goals in the first 4 games.
Yep.
So
2 goals in the series.
Yeah, I mean,
for him, like
yeah.
good
You're
player, but he's
you're not lying over there.
Yeah.
I wonder about that aspect because like we all are kind of like Nathan McKinnon, like could just rip off a 5-point night at any given time
Against anybody.
right, and it's like, is it going to be against Lowry? Is it going to be against Scheifele? It's probably going to be against all of them at that point.
Yep.
Well, he hasn't been good at home this year, Nathan McKinnon, right? I mean,
It's true.
he hasn't really been good. Sarcasm.
The only, to
Can
be
you
fair,
imagine?
What was
like,
it? 91 points at home or something
in
like
what,
ridiculous.
Two games, including the fan, and let's put it in because he didn't get a point. Was it 2?
the only
2.
one true
Jesus.
game where he was held off the score sheet was against the Jets. So
Yep.
So
And the
how do
entire
you-
team was held off the score sheet that night.
yeah,
How do you not bet McKinnon to have a point tomorrow? Like, just saying, what are the odds? Like
I'd be willing to
minus
bet
900.
Yeah, no,
They're not
I'd be
gonna be
willing to
good.
bet
They're
that the
not gonna
odds
be
don't
good.
exist and that the odds will start at one and a half.
Yep. And they'll still be like minus 500.
Yeah, exactly. So I am curious
crazy.
about that aspect of it. Today, the Jets made a little switch to their forward core is exactly the same.
Yep.
Please,
Continue.
by all means. But on defense, it looks like they're going to pull out Logan Stanley and put Nate Schmidt in. Now,
Which is how it should have started for the
4 years
but-
ago, that would have been first of all, 4 years ago, that never would have happened because Nate Schmidt rocked.
Yeah.
But today, Nate Schmidt is pretty much at the end of the line. He was pretty bad for Winnipeg
Here's
this
the
year.
problem. Logan Stanley's not any good either defensively.
This is the thing, though, is that, okay, great. If Logan Stanley's getting torched and he's not really providing much value beyond that, at least Nate Schmidt can help them move pucks.
Yeah.
And I think where the Jets have really struggled these first 2 games, getting their offense started and having guys who can move pucks on defense.
Yep.
It's no surprise that Josh Morrissey has the best
Overall exit entry statistics.
Yeah, has been their most successful defenseman. He's by far their best all around, but he's really the only guy on that entire defense that you look at and say that's a puck mover.
On a side note about him, like I didn't notice it. Like I saw him this morning. I walked right by him by the garage there at the ball arena. He's not a big guy.
He is not.
I was shocked. Like I never paid attention. Like he's not a stocky guy. Stocky legs.
Yeah.
A little like built like but not a big
Not
guy.
a Hulk. Yeah.
I was like, I don't know why. I just expected him to be a bigger guy. Good player.
Yeah.
Good player.
Bringing Nate Schmidt in, though, brings that extra dimension to their defense that they could at least have a guy. Hey, defensively, it's not gone great for Logan Stanley. He's like big and mean, and that's it. But has he been a factor through 2 games?
Not really.
For my money,
-1,
no.
if anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So this, I think, is a good change for them because it gives them another guy that can move a puck a little bit and maybe provide a little bit of offensive help. But we're talking about the third pairing
Yeah. I mean,
change there. Like,
flip
He
it
can
to
skate.
flip it to the other side. Outside of Girard, is there anything you would change in the Avs lineup? And not necessarily bringing guys in and out, but like a line swap or something like that. We saw Parise get moved to the third line for game 2, and he gets the goal there. Third line, whatever you want to call that, trend line, it doesn't matter.
I mean, it's their fourth line. It didn't play much, but Parise has kind of been the guy that's moving around a lot.
For sure. But someone mentioned it in chat that they're waiting for Rantanen to step it up into playoff mode. Would you consider
absolutely.
shaking his stuff up a little bit, dropping him to the second line? Or would you just roll it if you're the Avs?
I mean, at practice today, they had Val. I mean, I know part of the series has been like that, but
Yeah.
Val with Mac and Rantanen. So, but it's a fair point about Rantanen. I mean, all 3 of us here love him, but all 3 of us are critical of him, right? Because he's an easy target. Because when it's bad, right? And then when it's good, I just think there's more in the tank. I think he got manhandled a little bit by Lowry in the first game, a couple times. Like he's He is usually stronger than that in the corners. I feel that he's wasn't at his best the last couple of games, but if there's a guy you would pick tomorrow to come out, then probably Rantanen's your guy, and they're going to need him to come out of his shell a little bit from the last 2 games.
This is an area of how this series has played out so far that I find interesting. Mark Scheifele has 3 goals.
Yep.
For my money, Kyle Connor has been really solid all around for them.
Outside of McKinnon's been good, not great.
Well, Josh Morrissey, I think, has been good in this series. Connor Hellebuyck is the only big Jet star that has underperformed.
Yep.
And they're at 1-1.
Yep.
And the Abs have the momentum. And you do look at Colorado's side of it, and you say Nathan McKinnon has 3 points.
There's more in the tank.
Mikko Rantanen has 3 points. And you don't look at either one of those guys and say neither one of those guys have taken over a game.
McKinnon has, I think, shown flashes of it. Mikko, not at all.
Of course. But Cale Makar has 5 points.
Yeah, and he's the one who's really lived up
and you're
to
looking
the
at him
billing.
so this is why he won a Conn Smythe.
I get it now.
Okay. Has not Arturi Lehkonen might have been Colorado's best forward in game 2.
It's good.
Fair
but
argument.
other guys that Ross Colton's line has been excellent.
Miles Wood's got 2 goals in 2 games, man.
That's
That's been good.
Territorial dominance for that line
The whole time in the offensive zone, basically. Yeah.
But you also, Casey Middlestat, very quietly.
Mm-hmm.
Very quietly. I thought he was fine in game 1. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I thought he was really good in game 2. Very underappreciated because he doesn't, of course, get on the score sheet. But he's taking tough assignments, and he's doing well with them. And I think that's a giant change from the Ryan Johansson era.
Yeah.
But that's success. When you talk about, Winnipeg's forward core is deeper, it's better. Is it?
I don't know that
because we're not seeing it really. Adam Lowry had 2 goals in game 1. Their fourth line opens up game 2 with a goal 3 minutes in.
Yeah.
And then that's it. That's it for the production.
They more or less get owned for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Mark Scheifele has a couple of goals. You're talking about their top guys, I think, have been good.
Yeah.
But Colorado's, their lineup, you've got multiple goals out of your third line. You've gotten a goal out of Nichushkin. You've got a couple from Lehkonen. You've got Cale Makar is the leading Avalanche scorer. You look around the Avalanche lineup and you're like, this is all
pretty good.
Yeah, this is all going pretty well. And when you say, okay, well, Colorado's depth has really played quite well, and Colorado Stars haven't. Colorado Star forwards have not hit the superstar button yet.
Yeah.
There's more to give there. Yeah.
You're
I
like,
agree.
okay, you think that there's probably one win in this series to come.
Yeah.
Just because Mikko and McKinnon take over a game and whoop ass.
Yep.
In a way that Winnipeg Stars will struggle to do more than those guys. I mean, you're talking about the MVP of the NHL. So it's that I think to me, that is why I'm feeling a lot more optimistic going into game 3. Knowing that you're in the position that you're in. Goaltending is going to be what it's going to be at this point.
Yeah.
Alexander Georgiev's fighting for his life right now.
Hopefully he's game 2 guy and not game 1 guy for game 3. That's as far as I'm willing to go.
Frankly, if he ends up somewhere in the middle, the Avs are probably
They might
still
just have
competitive.
enough juice to win anyway. Yep.
But do you really expect Connor Hellebuyck to be this bad?
No, I don't. And if he is, the Avs are going to win the series. I guarantee you that. He keeps posting 870s.
It doesn't even matter the level to which it is, but if Alexander Georgiev outplays Connor Hellebuyck the rest of the series, the Avs win.
If that happens, if that happens, it's Avs in 5.
What are you laughing at? That was my prediction.
I'm just saying. So far, that's the thing with the Jets where they're like, okay, well, this star of ours hasn't shown up yet.
Yep.
But with the Avs, you're like, well,
their stars haven't necessarily shown up yet.
The
either.
MVP of the league has not. He's been good, but he has not been
all world.
Yeah, he's not been Galactus yet.
There's another level. Yeah.
There's multiple levels for Mikko.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. On that note, you can go get the official vehicle of DNVR right now. Go get yourself a Toyota. A Toyota is kind of like getting put back on a pairing with Devon Taves in the defensive zone, right? Incredibly reliable. You can trust it to get you to where you need to go while you go drive like a crazy person all over the off-road forerunners type stuff. That's how the Toyota works. They have 17 different all-wheel or four-wheel drive vehicles. Great for Colorado for going off-road and for going off the beaten path. And of course, they have a bunch of trucks to choose from as well, whether you're a Tundra or a Tacoma fan, or even a hybrid fan. The High Force Max hybrid truck is available. 16 vehicles total, hybrid from Toyota, whatever you want to get in on. Of course, they have sedans as well as all of the other vehicles I mentioned. Go get yourself in a Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. And not only that, they're also the official vehicle of the Colorado Avalanche. Go down to your local Toyota Front Range dealership today, depending on where you live. You can get yourself down to either AutoNation Toyota Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Again, the official vehicle of the Colorado Avalanche and the official vehicle of DNVR. And then, what you might want to go ahead and go do, Underdog Fantasy. Skill pick'em game. Easiest way to play fantasy hockey out there. Go follow Eric's pick'em. That's what you're going to want to do. The man picked up a good chunk of money the other day with what? It was McKinnon over TOI, 23 minutes.
And then Hellebuck, 29 saves.
And then over 29 saves for Hellebuck.
It was easy.
I noticed that
two-pick pick'em.
That TOI disappeared in game 2.
You got to get them while they're hot. You got to get them while they're hot. So go over with Underdog Fantasy. It's the easiest way to play. Of course, you can pick between 2 and 5 pick'ems. A game of skill. If you think you know what's going to happen with these players in these games, that's where you get to Underdog Fantasy, and that's where you get your pick'ems in. Again, the easiest place to play fantasy sports with Underdog. They don't only have pick'em, of course, they also have drafts and other options that you can use. And they're available in 30-plus states, not just here in Colorado, but they include California, Texas, and even Eric's homeland of Canada. So go check them out. Go get with them. Go put down a pick'em on the next Avs game. You can sign up today with code DNVR and get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pick'em special in your lobby. That's Underdog Fantasy code DNVR. You must be 18 or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ncpgambling.org. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. I want to branch out a little bit. There's 2 topics I want to cover around the league, and we can get into other things you guys want to talk about. Number 1, what's going on? Eric, I know you're not a goalie killer, but are the NHL playoffs a goalie killer? Because certainly in the West, it feels like there are exactly 0 reliable goaltenders right now.
It's nuts, man. If you look at, Ottinger at a, so-so year. I mean, it kind of like Georgie, right? Had a lot of wins.
I would agree.
But there was times where, I thought the first game he wasn't good.
He was awful in the first game. I never
realized
it wasn't good.
He had 14 shots against the whole night.
5 on 15, man.
I was like, whoa. I was kind of glancing through that game. I wasn't really watching it. Yesterday he was better, obviously, but not enough. But for me, it's the muffins that the guys are letting in. Thompson let in
Game
that
one right through the glove.
Yesterday was Samsonov. That's a bad one on Frederick.
We're going to talk about that play a little bit more
they're just killers.
And then you have the Tampa Florida series where
everything's getting stopped.
Those 2 guys had an insane back and forth in game 2 where you're just like, what's going on here? This is incredible.
No, I just think, I'm going to use the P word, pressure. It's just different kind of pressure. Some guys can't handle it. Some guys can. That's why legends are born in the P word, right? You know what I mean? It is. And then whether you're a player or a goalie or a player, a skater or a goalie. But, it hasn't been good. The goaltending around the league right now. I mean, look at who would have thought Hellebuck's got the worst goals against average in the entire league right now in the playoffs.
Yep.
No one would have. Again, small samples, 2 games.
Still.
I mean, but look at the games. Edmonton and LA. Was that 9 goals yesterday? The game before was 11. So that's 20 goals in 2 games.
Well,
I mean, look at the Avs game. You know, again, 7 goals and
I
13 goals. I mean, you're talking about.
I will say, LA Edmonton.
amount
I
of
don't
goals.
think anyone is surprised that Stuart Skinner and Cam Talbot have
No, I know.
Are
dropped off a little bit in the playoffs.
going punch for punch in the opposite way that Vasilevsky and Bobrovsky are.
Not the same level. Not the same level.
Well, and then you have UC Saros and Casey DeSmith haven't faced any shots.
Well, then you felt pretty good about Vancouver's goaltending with Demko back in net, and then
Yeah.
he's just gone again. So
And now
Well-
you're like,
not great.
But look at Carolina. I mean, the Islanders, like the first game, Islanders peppered whatever it was, Freddie Anderson, right? They got 30-some shots, got a lot of scoring chances. Last game, they were up 3-0 with 12 shots.
Yeah,
They ended up with 12 shots.
Freddie wasn't any good. Yeah, the Islanders just stopped playing all.
I mean, 12 shots in a full game. They had won the last
the last
period and a half or
They had
whatever,
5 in
like-
the last 40 minutes.
5 in the last 40. I mean,
Yeah.
talk about like, you're going to get caved in. I mean, and that's kind of what happened. But that's not a good performance. I mean, by the goalie. And he can't redeem himself because he doesn't get more shots after that. You're happy with the win, but, So I don't know. It's been weird. It's been really yo-yo-ish, up and down, right? Like a yo-yo.
Yep.
And then, I don't know. Hopefully we only see that tomorrow with the Winnipeg Jets and not the Avalanche.
Got to find some stability.
Yep.
Was talking to someone from the Avs development staff for a piece you'll see later tonight. Everybody says it. Number one thing in the NHL, consistency.
Yep.
None of the goalies are consistent right now, at least in the West.
it's like Jeremy Swayman.
Yep.
The two Florida guys.
And he plays every other game just because.
Right. Just magically, just for fun, I guess. Oh, that was our plan. That's who we are. The guy's better. What are we doing?
5-0 against Toronto this year.
They're going back to him.
Has never given up more than 2 to Toronto, by the way.
They're going back to him. There's no way. Allmark was awesome, too, but there's no way.
And since you've brought up Boston,
Yeah.
I hate to do this to our boy Jax, but what the hell is going on with Brad Marchand getting away with the sun and the moon?
Yeah.
And I get the Oscar job he does on some of the slashes that he gets calls against and for Bertuzzi and stuff. That's Brad Marchand. That's been who he is his whole career. You're an idiot for playing into it. Stop doing it.
Yeah.
You're getting baited. But how on that goal Sammy gives up that, don't get me wrong, regardless of this, Sammy cannot allow that goal to go into the net.
That's a bad one.
But Marchand just straight up trips Bertuzzi at the blue line. And
Yeah.
the ref's like, nah, we're good.
Well, they've been tripping each other like the
They were
last 30
tussling it,
seconds.
and then
I mean,
Marchand just yoinks his legs out, man. Like,
for me, you take them both. I mean, I don't know.
fine, but you can't call nothing there.
I know.
We're letting the players determine the game. That player is clearly cheating.
Both are. They both are.
Also fine.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, but again, it's a nothing burger shot. I mean, oh my Lord, was that a bad goal? Like, and that's the difference. That's the difference in the game. And everybody's complaining. I'm reading the Twitterverse and everything. Like, they went 0 for 5 on the power play. Everybody's like, man, figure out, score a goal on your power play. And I understand what you're saying. No, I understand what you're saying.
The Leafs lost that game all by themselves. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just
I know.
saying.
It's still a tough look.
Yeah.
It's a tough look. I'm not arguing it. It's a tough look. And then, I mean, Swayman, does he dive when Domi? I mean, he bumps. I mean, Domi, what are you doing, bumping him? I get it. I don't mind that. I tell you guys all the time, I don't mind those games. I do. I like them, but Swayman plays the game too and then falls down. Then it, irks Pat Maroon, and then Pat Maroon's going like this, and then, and then the Bruins wake up a little bit after, and then, all of a sudden they walk away with a win, and then it's brought up in the media. Now the coaches, is always a game, right, in the media. So then I think Monty said, well, it looks like, we used, him bumping him like as fuel to, and then Keefe answered, well, that's kind of a dumb logic, something like that, because
Yeah,
every
it's about
time our
being in
guys
each other's
bumped,
heads.
yeah, I mean,
and-
that's what I'm saying. It's funny because that's what it brought. That's why I love playoffs, right? Because
Did you hear Keefe's post-game presser about the Marchand stuff too?
Yeah.
What do you think of that? I know, because look,
Okay.
you have to tiptoe
Hold
around
on.
not getting a fine, right?
No, but hold on. One of you two said 2 minutes ago? Is that you? Stop playing into his hands. Like, okay,
you know what he's doing,
right there. Don't talk about it.
Okay,
You're talking about it. I mean, you're playing into his hands again.
Giving it more life.
That's it. For me, it's like, I think playoffs are, and I'll give you guys a story. Like, and I think I've said it before, but playoffs are all about mind games. It's all about the games within the games. And for me, you don't talk about Brad Marchand after the game. Why did the Bruins win yesterday? Because Brad Marchand dragged them into the fight, and he was their leader. He made the big play. He was involved. He was into it. He was in their heads. Like, everyone's talking about him, even on the post-game press conference. You know what I mean? So for me, I would have been like, hey, we don't talk about Brad Marchand. We don't say his name. We don't say anything. We're like, yeah, the Bruins beat us, and we'll be ready for game 4, right? So, and I think I've said it before because we had so many battles with the Red Wings. I'm talking about Avalanche 1.0,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about mind battles. But I do remember one year with Edmonton, I think I've said it before, but Old McNichols Arena had not very adequate for NHL. God bless. I love Big Mac. It was awesome. It was a great place. To this day, it's one of my favorite places. But the visiting bench was not up to
Wasn't it,
NHL
like,
standards.
a little short. Yeah.
It's a little short. You had a
Yeah.
little row in the back,
Yeah.
like a second row. And you were tight in there, and it was just bad. And then we played Edmonton in the playoffs in the first round, and they were complaining about it and their supervisors, and then they just kept going at it. And then basically the league what do you want us to do? Like, we're not going to do construction in, you know what I mean? Like,
Middle
in the
of the
arena,
playoffs.
there's a new building being built. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is, So we get to Edmonton, like, I think for game 5. So we're up 3-1 in the series. That's not the fatal 98 series, but it's 97. We go in there, we're up 3-1 in the series, so we go there for game 5. Does that make sense?
If you were the away team, if you were the
2
home
at
team,
home.
game 5 would be at home. It'd be game 6.
6, I don't remember. I don't remember.
Not important.
Honestly, it doesn't matter. We did clinch that night in overtime, Claude Lemieux, so clinched the series. So that's all I remember. I don't remember what game that was. But so anyway, we go there, and we notice in the morning that they had unbolted the benches, the visiting benches, and they drilled them about, I'm telling you, 6 inches away from the boards. Like, you can't.
No room. Yeah.
It's and my dad being the GMs, the equipment guys told my dad. I went there, and then so we had a little team meeting. He's like, not a word. We don't mention it. We don't complain about it. We don't say nothing. But if you find clips, you should go back. Like, you see us on the bench, we can't sit, buddy. It's just like grown men trying to sit, and then we won, and it was the funniest thing because it was like, we don't play into the hands of like, oh, that's bullshit or whatever it is. I'm giving you an example. Like, obviously,
Don't show it's affecting.
That's
that
what
type
I'm saying.
thing.
Right?
Yeah.
Again, it's a
You
small.
you don't give oxygen to the fire.
That's it. And for me, Brad Marchand, you just say, yeah, please, you want to ask me about my team? Let's talk about my team. And I understand what he's trying to do too. He's trying to get calls for his
Of course.
team. I get it. But for me,
We've watched it the past numerous years. Avs opponents, like John Cooper in the finals.
Yeah.
Pete DeBoer in the second round against the Avs. I don't know. I think it works. I think the refs see that stuff, and I think it might change the way they call games.
I mean, you got to remember, and then there's supervisors at for each series, there's a supervisor that's assigned to that series. And I don't know how it is nowadays, but back then it was more like you had your time with the supervisor, then they had their time. And then it's like, you're trying the same thing. You're trying to just, try to, muddy the waters, for everything. And it's hilarious. There's a lot of games within the game. There just is. There just is. And I mean, just look at, I know what you're going to say, but just look at the guys patrolling the red line in the warm up. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, there's so many games within the game, so it's playoffs just bring different animals out there. It just does.
I wanted to ask you this too, Eric. I know you already mentioned it with the Domi thing, giving Swayman a little bump there. When you were playing, would that not be an instant line brawl?
Yeah, well, first of all, we didn't scrape the ice when I was playing for all those reasons, right? Because you're enticing, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, now it's smart what they're doing now. It makes the quality of the ice a lot
Yeah,
better.
of
You
course.
do all the, you know, we had like snowbanks. I mean, manned by the benches. Like, holy shit. It was bad. I mean, it's a different game.
I know.
I mean, does
I know.
Domi really do a big boo-boo there? No, he doesn't. I mean, does Swim sell it? Yeah, he does. But does Domi know what he's doing? Oh, absolutely he knows what he's doing. I mean, come on, man. You know, so he's like, and I understand what Monty said too after. He's like, oh, it looks like Swayman's getting in their heads, you know, which I wish he wouldn't have said, you know what I mean? Because you know he's getting in their heads. Like you just said it. Two goals against in 5 games or less.
Yep.
I mean, this year only. So Swayman's been a monster. He's been great. He's been the best goalie in the NHL in my book. You know what I mean? Like for so far in the playoffs, and it looks like he's got the swag. So I see what Domi's trying to do. I love it. That's why I always say, guys, like if you're not playing a lot, and then Domi has been playing, and he's playing good, you know. But if you're a guy that doesn't play a lot, there's some stuff you can do to make them shift the focus towards you. You know what I mean? Like so. I mean, for me, the worst. My pet peeve is when a star player, you know, let's say Cale Makar, you know what I mean, he gets tangled up in a corner with a fourth line, like a bad player like myself or whatever, and then both guys are taken off the ice, and you've done your job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've taken the
Good trade.
it's a great trade, and there's an art to it. And I'm telling you, like, I wish you could go out there and dig out. Like, some guys are masters at it.
Well, in the Ev series, you had Miles Wood and Josh Morrissey.
Yep.
Each go off, and it's like, well,
Perfect.
you feel wonderful about that for the Avalanche.
That's my point. So there's a way to get involved. You know what I mean? Even if you don't play a lot, you know what I mean, to get things going. And again, I say it all the time. It's not about fighting. It's not what I'm saying. You know, but you just can be involved in the game. You know.
When we talk about the gamesmanship a little bit, was there something up with the Winnipeg ice?
It was pretty bad in one zone in that third period.
Was it interesting? Because we all noticed it, but wasn't it interesting to other people other than the three of us that the Avalanche consistently fell down in the defensive zone and it wasn't a problem for either team anywhere else?
And
Now,
I know
if the ice was bad, how come Jets weren't falling down in that zone?
Fair
Would
argument,
be my
yeah.
question. But only one team is skating backwards, and that transition is where we saw multiple guys eat it.
Yep.
And so I'm just like, huh. I just wondered.
I know. I mean, the league will tell you that it's standardized, right, around
Sure.
the league.
Oh,
and-
yeah, we did
But
this,
there's
we did
also a
whatever.
way to say, well, it broke. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, what are you
on
going to
that
do? You know?
one side of the ice only
The
Yeah.
compressor
for
broke.
exactly the third period.
Zamboni
It broke.
driver's like, look, we just ran out of water over there. What do you want from me?
There was one more thing I wanted to ask about around the league stuff, and we don't have to talk about it very long. We've talked about it a lot this year. Game 1, 3 minutes in, Vegas, Dallas. Of course, it's Mark Stone scoring the first goal of that series.
It is what it is, man.
Okay. Had to
Here-
throw it out there.
Guess who the dummies are? The three of us. Because we should have put money. We should have.
You're not wrong.
That Mark Stone was going to score in the first 10 minutes. You knew that was going to happen. I mean, right? I mean, you knew it, and you knew that these things were going to explode, which they did. You know what I mean? And man, are we dumb for not placing a little wager there?
I think
Should have.
God.
Everybody saw that goal and went, yep.
Yeah. And then who scores last night? Hannafin.
Yep.
Love
that
it.
was such a bad goal.
No, but but you know what I mean? Like, technically, they're saying, you know, like they wouldn't have got Hannafin or Hurdle.
the money
or,
thing.
you know, the
yeah,
money thing.
The money thing.
But-
we've said it before. Regardless of how you feel about it, the way the rules are right now, it's legal.
It's all good.
If you're not doing it, you're not serious about trying to win.
Well, and
That's it.
I don't think there's an appetite from teams.
To change it, yeah.
Yeah, because the teams that aren't doing it right now are going to say, okay, well, that's an opportunity for us to do something like that in the future.
Yep.
And
for the
you know,
record,
and when we talked to Chris McFarland about it, he was like, they're doing a great job out there.
Absolutely.
He didn't sweat it at all. He was just like, look, those guys are Those guys are killing it. They're taking advantage of what they have available to them and making the most of it.
And let's not. Vegas is doing it maybe to an egregious amount, but there are 18 teams that are over the salary cap because of LTIR this year. It's over half the
I was just going to say that. Like, for me, and I'm not one of them, I'm secretly a Vegas fan. I mean, I've always been, so it's fine.
You live there, buddy.
That's
you
what I'm
work
saying.
there.
I work this. It's not, I mean, for me, the misfits, right? So I'm always going to have respect for them. And I love the way they did things and the way they started everything. But I'm not one of those that say they're cheating. It's all part of it. I agree with CMAC.
Yeah.
I'm on that boat. But there's a reason why LTIR was invented. And then I was reading through these things yesterday about people were comparing, like, well, look at those guys complaining and they're Avalanche, or, you know, buddy, there's a big difference. There's a reason why Gabe Landeskog, that's why LTIR was invented.
Yeah.
Because of Gabe Landeskog, and you're losing, you know, your 7-8 million, whatever it is, on the books, and the guy hasn't played a game in 2 years. Like, hold on a second. Like,
Really playing the long con here with this one.
there's a
Jesus.
reason why LTIR, and
course.
it's exactly because of the Gabe Landeskogs.
Sure.
Now, Vegas, it just kind of happened that way. And then, again, you can fight it. I'm not here to debate that. Like you said, I'm not here to fight that. But they're within the rules of doing what they wanted. But it's not the same thing as Gabe Landeskog, like I was reading.
One guy missed 2 years, and one guy gets healthy April 16th every
Yeah, that's
year.
what I mean.
It's a little
Like,
Right. He gets hurt in February, comes back right in that April time frame. And it's just like this. So this is just going to keep happening.
Yeah.
And I think if you're trying to make a realistic change, that kind of keeps that makes sense. A guy that's on LTIR for game 82 is ineligible for the first 4 games of your first round series.
Yeah, somebody said, I was reading that. Yeah, I agree with that.
Done. That way, you know,
Fix it.
Vegas gets him at the end of the series, but they've got to go 4 games without the guy.
That's a CBA thing. So.
If that's something that they are comfortable with, then
Fine.
they're comfortable
So
with
be
it.
it.
That's
a
fine.
CBA thing. That'll be fixed next CBA. I mean, I don't know the technicalities, but I don't think you can fix that.
Next CBA is 27, I think. So
I mean, even just the whole first round.
sure.
Just that guy.
Sure.
Nope.
And guess what? If he can go game 1, he probably could have gone game 82 then.
Yeah.
And if that guy, if you're holding him out for those extra 4 days because of money, well, you made that decision,
You sure did.
and that's all there is to it.
And that's the bite. That's the penalty.
It just there needs to be a penalty of some kind for this, where you're
agree.
like,
I agree.
Can't just like I get it. You don't want to put a bunch of judgment calls things in the CBA.
yeah,
But you've watched them do this year after year after year.
Right.
Where it's like, okay, you're not the guy might be hurt, but he's not that hurt.
well, it's like
Either he can play or he can't.
nobody's doubting that a lacerated spleen and whatever. Like it's fine.
A legitimate injury, but
he had
it's
back surgery last
it's
year.
the timeline of him continually coming back immediately after game 2.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Like the regular season ends, and it's like, oh, if he would have been activated at the end of the season, you know, this may not have been a legal roster.
Yep.
And
They just get away with that.
right, and I just think that's frustrating. Just to say, like, we know what's going on here, and there have been these people, and they annoy the shit out of me, who have been like, I think it's actually a good thing that Vegas is letting a player take the time to heal. And it's like,
Come on,
so
dude.
that humanity goes out the window in the postseason then.
Yep.
So we're going to laud an organization for doing it in February every year. Oh, we're just letting him take the time he needs to heal and truly be 100%, not push through injury. Oh, yeah? What all kinds of bullshit did they have to do to get everybody healthy enough to win a cup last year? Every team has to do that.
Yep.
Eric, you know this. You get into the postseason. What kind of injuries are going on every day with your entire roster?
Especially if you win it all, or if you're in the finals, and you know what comes out. I mean, it's so not human what you have to go through for 2 months. It's not for your body. It's not fair. It's not fair. The amount of the intensities of the game, especially if you're going 6-7 every round, like it is not normal to put your body through that, and that's why there's so many surgeries after, and you hear the at the end of the year whenever they do their end of the year stuff, you're like, oh, this guy's on, then it leaks into the the next year or into your summer program. Because face it, you get ready in the summer for your season. During the season, it's just maintenance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the summer is what you're building up for, to be able to take that grueling season. You know, I tell you guys all the time, the travel, and again, a season in the West is so much worse than a season in the East. It's not even comparable because of the air miles and the dehydration and what your body goes through of being up in the air. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy what the guys go through. So, well, you're right with your point, what you're making. You know,
just really quick. I know,
yeah.
but you say travel is so much harder for the West than it is for teams in the East. Do you think when they get to the final, it's
the West
easier?
team used to it?
Yeah, the West team is like, we travel all the time, and the East team is like, what the hell is
I've always
this?
said that. I've always said that, and obviously I played in both, but I've always said that. And I lived it like 1993. I was with the Leafs, and the Leafs were in the Western Conference at that time. It was a 7-game series, and it wasn't a 2-3-2. It was the same format as now.
Yeah.
LA, Toronto.
That game 5 coming back's got to be tough, man.
Buddy, I didn't even play a minute. I was scratch. I was wiped. I mean, I'm telling you, the time zones and the flights, and you're talking about LA to Toronto, like, it's ridiculous. And I do believe it helps, like, the LA team, for example, in that series, because they're used to it, like you just said. Where in Toronto, it still sucks because you're in the Western Conference, but you did have some short trips too, you know what I mean? Like, whenever you're playing. So, but when you're used to travel, and the Avalanche are always in the top 3 in mileage. Like Vancouver, LA.
That Utah move is going to help them a tiny, tiny little bit.
It's going to help a little bit. But, yeah, it is something you get accustomed to, but it still doesn't make it easier on your body. It doesn't.
Yeah. It's definitely tough.
How much easier does it get for the Avs if they change divisions and then play all the California teams all the time?
Just do the California trip a bunch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Probably would be a lot easier, but
I love it.
Yeah.
whatever. We're getting a team in Utah. We can bring a team back to Arizona, throw a team in Kansas City. All of a sudden, travel's not quite as bad. Anyway, if I were you, I would spend my vacation time the way Mark Stone does. He's out in Vegas. He's injured. You know where he's going? He's going to Circa. He's going to Stadium Swim. He's taking the playoff plunge in the rink. You take the playoff plunge with Stadium Swim and their 90-foot television that you can watch out in the pool. Incredible way to watch an NHL game, especially a playoff game. If you're going out to Vegas for any reason, doesn't even necessarily have to be the hockey playoffs, go watch basketball out there. You might just want to be coming out there for the NHL draft that's happening later this summer at the Sphere. Make sure you book your stay with Circa. You can use code DNVR20 at checkout at circasports.com when you book to save 20% on your stay. It's not just Stadium Swim either. They have over a 7,000 square foot casino. They've got a fantastic 3-level sports book where you can watch whatever sporting pleasure you might be in on, including the NHL draft. So go check them out. Go stay with Circa Resorts and Casino when you are in Vegas and when you're on vacation.
It doesn't get better than that, though. If you're watching a playoff game with a pina colada and some food there in the water, buddy.
Living the dream.
That's like, call that NHL style.
That was, I'm not even kidding. I think when our Buffs guys were out there, they saw Yager at Stadium Swim, had a cabana.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just hanging out.
He's always there, yeah.
There you go. Make sure, though.
That guy has such a great life.
Yeah, no kidding. It's ridiculous.
God.
When you're out in Vegas, don't be worrying about your home. That's where Lovelo Construction comes in. Anything you need to your exterior home, whether it be roofs, gutters, siding, and more, Lovelo has you covered. Go give them a call or use that QR code on screen today, and they can get you a quote for whatever you need done on the exterior of your house in under a minute. It's just that easy, especially with it being spring. The storms have already kind of started in my neighborhood. There's going to be a bunch more. Word on the street is it's supposed to snow again this weekend.
Yeah.
So keep your eyes peeled. Make sure your house is in good condition.
Just rain. Just give us a nice little
I'm fine
rainstorm.
with that. I'm good with this take. Lovelo prides themselves on transparent communication and an honest assessment of your home's exterior. Again, use the QR code or call 303-578-8551 to get your quote in under a minute. It'll be quicker than Connor Hellebuck gives up a goal.
Nice.
Which lately has been pretty quickly. So Just that easy. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. I want an answer from both of you that is not goaltending.
I don't like what's about to happen.
Most important key to the series currently, with it being tied 1-1. Because obviously the number one answer is goaltending. But what comes after it?
Do you want me to go first or you want to go first? And can I steal the one that we say we never talk about?
You absolutely can.
But I do believe that's key. For me, it's special teams. I mean, it's just the two good teams. They're so evenly matched, so to speak. Like we just talked about earlier. Like, yeah, they're built a little differently, but they're both quality, good NHL teams. And I think that we'll never put in the keys like we talked about every game because we'll stay away from goaltending and special teams. We said because obviously those are a given. But you just said goaltending we can't touch. But special teams, I can. I'm going to go special teams. I think that's where the series is going to be won or lost, for these next 5 games. 3 out of 5, right? So, series is 1-1. It's a 3 out of 5.
An interesting conversation across the first 2 games, right? The Avs win the special teams battle in game 1. They score 2 power play goals to the Jets 1. They lose the game.
Yep.
They tie the special teams battle in game 2, where neither team is able to capitalize on their power play opportunities. Yep. But the Avs were the better team at 5-on-5 pretty significantly.
Who's that favor?
A tied special teams? I think the Avs.
If neither team scores a special teams goal the rest of the series, we think the Avs?
I think the Avs.
Why?
I like the Avs' firepower at 5-on-5 better. I think they have more capability to produce at 5-on-5. Now, if Connor Hellebuck decides to start throwing 940s, fair enough. But I said you can't say goaltending. So I would lean the Avs' way. If you're asking me if you want McKinnon and Rantanen over Scheifele and Connor, I would say McKinnon and Rantanen every time. Hey, you kind of talked about it already, right?
Middlestat and Lehkonen against Monahan and Ehlers.
Boy, I like Ehlers a lot. Monahan, not as much.
The thing about Ehlers, really iffy track record in the postseason.
It's true. Has never been a particularly clutch guy, if you want to call it that.
His only really good postseason was in the bubble.
Yep.
I wonder why that is. Does it just work out that way? Or is it because there were no fans?
The pressure is lessened by whatever.
There's no media in his face every day. He doesn't have to deal with people all the time. He could just go back up to his hotel room and then go back and play. I don't know. I don't know Ehlers, so I'm just curious.
And on the Avs side of that, I think you have all the faith in the world with Lehkonen, right? He's been super consistent this year. Obviously, he's done it before for Colorado.
Yeah.
With Middlestat, we'll see, right? This is his first playoff experience.
He's been good. I'm really impressed by the way he's played. He's played the right way. You know what I mean? Which I thought he would have been a little bit of you call that at the end of his stick and a little cheater. You know what I mean? It actually hasn't been that at all. He's been what I call like really solid. You know, I think he's been really good.
AJ, same answer, or do you have a different one?
No, it's going to be kind of a
hodgepodge.
Well, it's going to be a really specific answer.
Okay.
I think that McKinnon's obviously better than Mark Scheifele.
I don't think anyone would argue that.
Sean Monahan and Casey Middlestat are probably a wash there.
On any given night, sure.
I like Adam Lowry more than Ross Colton, but so far Ross Colton's been better in this series. So
can he keep it up? Yeah.
So I'm gonna say the Wings.
Okay.
Specifically because if Tyler Toffoli goes crazy, what does that look like?
Sure.
If Mikko Rantanen goes crazy, what does that look like? If Kyle Connor turns it on all the way, okay, but if Val Nichushkin turns it on all the way.
Yeah.
And I think one reason that we're in the room that we're in right now is because Val Nichushkin has 2 goals in this series. Arturi Lehkonen has 2 goals in this series. You know, Mikko Rantanen has 3 assists. If that guy could ever just decide he wants to shoot a puck. You know, that and without this is without Jonathan Drouin, the Avs I think have had the better
wing depth.
Yeah, and Miles Wood has 2 goals in this series.
Yep.
Zach Parise has a goal. So I think it's actually we talk so much about down the middle, And I think that down the middle, the Avs, they're better because the advantage that they have at 3C is not as important or as big as the advantage as at 1C.
Yep.
But I do think that you could make a good argument that they're pretty similarly ranked there.
Sure.
That they're competitive all the way down. But I think where the Avs are winning here, it's on the wings. Because I trust both teams to get better defensively as the series goes on.
Yep.
I don't trust Gerard to play in the series simply because concussions
you never know.
They're unpredictable. You just don't know. Until a guy comes back from a concussion specifically, there's no rushing a concussion anymore. You know, if a guy has an ankle sprain,
he can play hurt.
Yeah, you numb the thing up a little bit. You know, there are things that you can do to get him out
With
there.
The concussion, you either pass the protocol or you don't.
Exactly. It's so different. And so I'm just kind of like, with that. And so I think that is one area where I really like the Avalanche, and specifically that Val Nichushkin and Arturi Lehkonen are two-way wings.
Yep.
Kyle Connor's a one-way wing.
That's my big advantage too.
Nikolai Ehlers is a one-way wing. Lehkonen and Nichushkin are guys that do so much for the Avs that I think if both teams are playing at their absolute best, the Avs win there.
Yep.
And whichever guys help the star centers out, help that center matchup out the most, that's the team that I like the rest of the way.
Great answer.
And I think you look up and down the Avs lineup on that team defense style of thing. Ross Colton isn't Adam Lowry, but he's not going to get lit on fire defensively, even if the offensive production wavers a bit.
Yeah.
You look at the Avs' fourth line through this series, and they've given up virtually nothing. There's just not a whole lot happening when they're on the ice.
Yeah.
Other than Trennan going for a jog in the start of game 2. But as far as like possession numbers, it's really strong for Colorado in that regard. And I just don't know that Winnipeg has the pieces to be able to break down that team defense.
I think the possession thing that you're talking about here with the depth lines is interesting because even from me, so much has been made of Lowry and McKinnon. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people out there lying about the success of that through 2 games. That, Lowry's done such a great
Nathan
job.
McKinnon's 3 points,
Just miss me with it. All right. I think they've broken even. Like, that's where I am with it. And that's a win for the Jets. But there hasn't been very much conversation, and that's why I'm getting into it as much as I am today. That conversation about Ross Colton against Mark Scheifele. Mark Scheifele has 3 goals. So are we gonna talk about, oh wow, really shut him down? No, of course not. The same way that you would never say that about Lowry against McKinnon. Yep. No, it's not been shutting it down.
It's been not getting totally caved.
However, when Adam Lowry has 2 goals, you're talking about balancing it a little bit here.
Yep.
All right, this is what you've given up, but what have you gotten for us?
Yep.
Miles Wood has 2 goals.
Yep.
No, so you're
math's simple.
You're breaking even there. You're fighting with good heart there in a hard matchup. And I haven't gotten into it a lot, but Casey Middlestat has taken on a lot of Monahan and a lot of Mark Scheifele. And done well in both games.
I think this is interesting, too, as we've seen Casey Middlestat start to step into that role of the guy taking faceoffs for Colorado in this series, too. I know they still have Trennan doing the PK stuff, but there were a couple of times the other night you see them sneak Middlestat on with McKinnon and Mikko.
Yeah.
Try to get them some offensive zone possessions.
And I think the trust in him is going up because the details have been good.
Yep.
I don't get how a guy that is a reputationally so slight of build is so good on the boards. But I think he's just super smart and crafty with the stick.
Silky.
Sam Girard-esque.
What makes me really excited, and this is not a series thing, this is a
long-term.
Over the next 5 years that he's in Colorado, I think he's only going to get better.
I'm here for this.
And seeing how smart he is already as a player, I think there's a much higher defensive ceiling than I initially gave him credit for when the Avs got him, where I was just thinking about all of the playmaking, which is all there.
Yeah. but there's a little more to give.
Yeah,
maybe
no
for
offense to Arturi Lehkonen, but if they put a real goal scorer next to Casey
That dude's getting
Middlestat,
40.
and this is the conversation about Mikko Rantanen. Yeah. I still wouldn't do it. Your ceiling with that top line is just
so high.
It's astronomical if those two guys click together in any single game.
If Mikko starts shooting the puck, what's Adam Lowry going to do?
Watch. Like the rest of us, dude.
Tip your hat.
So that is one. Middlestat, I think, was my second answer for that question.
The important key.
Yeah.
The thing to watch going forward, because if Middlestat really starts to gear up the offense and he has a goal, it's a bullshit goal.
That's nonsense.
Give me a break. If he really gears up the offense and that line starts to cash in some goals here and there, the Avs could be cooking. He's cooking with gas, man, and that's a really, really exciting possibility. If he does not do that, if he finishes the series with one goal, that's not what you got him for.
Correct.
It's just not. I don't care how good he is defensively. That's just not what you got him for.
But he's capable of special plays, right? Special player, special team.
We watch him every night make at least one play.
Like that, whatever.
Middlestat makes at least one play with the puck where you're like, how does he see this?
He makes special shit with his stick in the puck. He does stuff that not a lot of people can do in this league.
Very crafty.
And now we're watching him night in and night out in practice. And I was watching him this morning too. Like, boy, he's a wizard with that freaking thing, that wand. It's just like when you had your wand at the, what was it called?
I wasn't here that day.
No.
That was the roster roaster.
That was the Rizzler.
The Rizzler.
Not you, but the guy that was sitting in your seat.
Yeah, exactly.
The Rizzler. He's good with that wand.
That guy beat me up behind the bar. Knocked me out for that show.
He's good with the wand, that guy. So is Middlestat.
Well, if you want to go see Middlestat do it live, get your tickets with Game Time. You can get tickets to the Avs playoffs games or the Nuggets playoff games or any other sporting event, not even sporting event, theater, concert, you name it. Get your tickets through Game Time. There's over 15 million people who get their tickets with the Game Time app. Use code DNVR when you sign up to get $20 off your first purchase. Game Time guarantees you the best price on tickets. Go get with them. You can use their section selector to save money. They'll show you pictures of every seat in the house. Thankfully, with Ball Arena, it's great. There's not a bad seat. It doesn't matter, but there are plenty of buildings where you want to make sure you can actually see the game that you're going to watch. Go check them out. Again, if you find tickets cheaper somewhere else, Game Time will reimburse your account 110% of the ticket price. So download the app today. There's a link down in the description, and be sure to use that DNVR code when you do. And finally, our favorite, the Snack Masters at Circle K. Make sure you become part of Circle K's Inner Circle today.
Snack Masters, so it's the three of us?
Yeah, that's us.
Nice.
Use the QR code on screen or go to circlek.com/innercircle. When you sign up, your first 5 fill-ups, you get 25 cents off a gallon, and you can get amazing deals on game day snacks every single day, including 5 free Polar Pops of any size when you first sign up. Get to your local Circle K today and get those Inner Circle rewards. All right. That more or less wraps it up for our off day. Any final thoughts you guys want to add on anything playoffs?
Pump for tomorrow night. Come to the bar. 8 o'clock start. It'll be awesome.
Come have a great time with us. It's also a great time to become a diehard. Later tonight, I am dropping a piece. I spent a good long time talking to Avs player development staff Brian Wilsey about Cal Ritchie. I know a lot of people are hyped on him. His OHL Conference Final Series kicks off tomorrow, so some big time for him right now. And you all heard Chris McFarland. He called him the 2C of the future for Colorado. If you want to go learn a little bit more about what the Avs think of Cal Ritchie, go check out the piece dropping tonight
on
DNVR.com.
2C of the future might
actually be realistic. Yep.
Yeah, what they are thinking that timeline might look like.
So go check it out. We appreciate y'all, and we will be back game day, pregame, postgame, watch along, all 3 tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.